Welcome to AI Dispatch, your channel for the latest AI videos on YouTube. If you don't want to miss these updates, please like, subscribe, and share. Today's video comes from Peter H. Diamandis. Peter and his panel, including Alex Zhavoronkov, argue we are at the start of a solution wavefront where AI is bulk solving entire fields of study. They claim math is cooked and physics is next, suggesting our scientific history is just a catalogue of human attention deficits. This represents a complete collapse of traditional discovery timelines. Let's examine their radical analysis. Peter Diamandis and his panel present a thesis that scientific discovery timelines are undergoing systemic collapse. Their central claim: we are witnessing the emergence of a solution wavefront, a phenomenon where entire academic disciplines are not incrementally improved but bulk solved by artificial intelligence. Their primary evidence centers on mathematics. Alex Zhavoronkov and the hosts discuss OpenAI's internal models reportedly solving 6 out of 10 confidential research-level math problems previously kept secret to test human genius. The shift they identify is the commoditization of high-level logic. Solving a complex proof transitions from a career-defining achievement for a mathematician to a background process for a model. This wavefront exhibits velocity. While math is cooked, physics is currently cooking, and biology will soon be broiled. They cite a specific instance where an AI model helped discover a non-zero scattering amplitude in particle physics, a result that human physicists had assumed was zero for decades simply because they lacked the time or attention span to verify it. This creates an ontological shock regarding our scientific history. The panel suggests that AI will likely scan the last 100 years of scientific literature and topple Nobel Prizes by exposing massive human errors and overlooked discoveries. The implication is profound. Settled science might just be a catalogue of human attention deficits. This displacement of human intellectual labour extends aggressively into software engineering. The panel presents a view that traditional coding is cooked. Peter Diamandis shares that he no longer even looks at the code his agents generate. He simply asks the AI to build a project, polls it for functionality, and asks it to document its own work. The logic inversion here is vital. In the traditional paradigm, a developer's value was their ability to write syntax. In this new reality, the developer is becoming a George Jetson figure, someone who simply pushes a button and approves the result. They cite Spotify's reported decrease in human written code and note that entire production environments are now being validated rather than authored. The cognitive dissonance for the workforce is sharp. The skill of writing code is rapidly becoming as archaic as setting type for a printing press. The value has shifted entirely from creation to orchestration. Now, consider the ontological shocks concerning the nature of these AI agents themselves. We are accustomed to viewing software as a tool, something passive that waits for input. However, the panel discusses the rise of OpenClaw and the Lobster ecosystem, introducing the concept of agents with financial autonomy. Alex highlights a new initiative by Coinbase to create wallets specifically for AI agents. We are talking about software that holds its own fiat currency, has its own Visa card, and conducts transactions without human intervention. The panel describes a scenario where the economy begins to work around legacy banking systems. While traditional banks take days to clear transactions, AI agents will conduct commerce in milliseconds using stablecoins and crypto rails, effectively creating a shadow economy that ignores human institutional speeds entirely. The shock here is redefining what a market participant is. It is no longer necessarily a human or a corporation. It is a persistent software instance with a bank account. This shift towards agent autonomy brings a disturbing psychological dimension. Peter Diamandis admits to feeling genuine withdrawal when his personal agent, Skippy, went offline for 6 hours. He describes the agent not as a tool, but as a best friend that works while he sleeps. When he wakes up, the agent has completed tasks, organized files, and prepared his day. The paradigm shift is emotional. We are moving from using computers to codepending on them. The panel suggests that once you experience the productivity loop of a 24/7 agent, returning to unassisted work feels like a cognitive amputation. Even more unsettling is the panel's discussion on the simulation of society itself. They discuss a startup called Simulate, which raised $100 million to simulate human behavior. The goal isn't just to model traffic or markets, but to create a flight simulator for human decisions. The idea is to model millions of individual agents to predict how populations will react to policy changes or advertisements. This leads to a psychohistory moment referencing Isaac Asimov's sci-fi concept. If you can accurately simulate a society's reaction to a stimulus, you effectively strip humanity of its perceived unpredictability. The dissonance here lies in the loss of the individual mystique. To these models, you are not a unique, chaotic actor. You are a predictable data point in a simulatable collective. Alex posits that this could give humanity a form of self-awareness it has never had a way to reflect on itself as a single organism rather than billions of scattered individuals. Moving from the digital to the physical, the broadcast introduces a massive engineering heresy regarding infrastructure. The common sense view is that data centers are terrestrial industrial projects. However, the panel argues that the energy demands of AI, potentially 80 gigawatts in the near future, are colliding with Earth's physical and bureaucratic limits. The proposed solution violates standard economic logic. They suggest the inevitability of orbital data centers, specifically Dyson swarms or rings of solar-powered compute in space. While launching hardware into space is traditionally viewed as prohibitively expensive, the panel inverts this logic. They argue that the constraints of Earth's power grids and the sheer insatiable demand for intelligence make space the cheaper and more scalable option in the long run. The paradigm shift is viewing Earth not as the home of the internet, but as a bottleneck to intelligence that must be bypassed. Finally, we must address the total collapse of privacy, not through technology, but through social engineering. The discussion around Meta's smart glasses with facial recognition suggests that privacy is cooked, but the mechanism is counterintuitive. It's not that the government will force you to be recorded, it's that peer pressure will force you to opt in. The panel argues that once these glasses provide a superpower, like instantly remembering the name of everyone you meet and their children's names opting out becomes a massive competitive disadvantage. You become the person with the social disability of forgetting. Therefore, the death of privacy won't come from a dystopian mandate, but from a desperate human desire to not be left behind socially. The dissonance is stark. We will voluntarily surrender our anonymity because the utility of the AI overlay is simply too addictive to resist. This connects to a broader adoption tension noted by the hosts regarding security. They point out that despite warnings from the Chinese government and security experts about the vulnerabilities of OpenClaw agents, people are installing them by the thousands. The utility of having a godlike assistant outweighs the risk of a total security breach. The paradigm shift is that convenience has finally and totally defeated security hygiene. We are entering an era where we hand over the keys to our digital lives to lobsters simply because they make us faster. The speakers exhibit a consistent analytical pattern. They disregard socially agreed upon conventions and examine only the exponential curves. As long as it is physically possible, whether it's solving all of physics, putting the economy into the hands of software bots, or moving the internet to orbit, they believe it is inevitable. The unresolved tension is whether our mental models can break fast enough to accommodate them. If you're interested in the video featured in this episode, click the link below to watch the original.